Okay. All right, good morning. It is 9 a.m. I am going to go live on our Facebook group, and then I'm going to start sharing our screen. And today we are going to be talking about disposition. So just give me a few seconds while I go live. And I have shifted my screen a little bit just because I found it a little challenging when I've got two monitors. So now I'm just focusing on one screen and on one monitor, but you will see me looking to the side a little bit when I am looking at the other screen. So forgive me for that. We'll go live on our Dispo site. Got it. Hey, Zara, good morning. Okay, so we're live on Facebook now. We're going to be talking about disposition, which is really selling the contracts. I am going to check for comments and sit tight for at least 4 to 5 more minutes, just so that I could make sure that our sound is coming through okay. So if you are on Facebook, could you do me a favor and please give me a comment, give me a quick thumbs up. Forgive me again if I don't look directly at the camera the entire time, because I do have dual monitors or a few different screens going on at one time. So if you see me glance off to the side, it's only because I'm checking the comments, all right? Just as a real quick reminder, on Thursday, we have our Lunch and Learn in Pasadena in our office at 898 North Fair Oaks Avenue. We're in Suite A. Lunch, we provide lunch every time. It's right at 12:30, first come, first serve for lunch. You can get some food, and at the same time, we can get some training done. I'm actually really excited about the training that we're going to be covering this Thursday, because we're going to be going into a step-by-step guide on how to use Facebook Marketplace so that you could find seller leads. Now, what you do with those leads, will vary, right? There's going to be some people that are getting those leads because they're real estate agents, and so they're looking for listings. There's going to be some investors that are looking at them because they want to buy those properties, and then there's going to be some people that are going to be using Facebook Marketplace to be able to get wholesale opportunities. They're going to be able to get properties under contract. They're going to be able to make a profit and then assign those to other people. Whatever your exit strategy is, that's fine, but we're going to be teaching exactly how to do that. And not only that, I'm going to be giving the exact templates, the exact text messages that I use in order. I do not deviate from this, and I've tested this out multiple times now, using Facebook Marketplace, using these messages, and the same thing would apply to any type of for sale by owner. So there's a specific text template that we have. It's really just 6 different messages that get sent out to the individual, and the beauty of it is they don't sound like someone was just kicking the tires. These are genuine questions that come from a interested buyer, and so it's going to make a lot more sense to them, and it engages them and it gets them a response. The ultimate goal is for you to be able to get a phone number, an email address, and an address from someone who's actually interested in selling the property, and then you can engage with them outside of Facebook Marketplace, right? That's the ultimate goal. Yeah. So in Cali right now, and I think George, you know this, right now we're at like under 70 degrees. So yeah, this is my actually this is one of my favorite sweaters, George. I like this sweater. Anyway, okay. I think it's like my the Big Lebowski sweater. All right, so let's go into disposition real quick. It's 9:04. I'm just going to sit tight one more minute, just one more minute before we get started, and then we're going to go straight into disposition and what it is that we do and how it is that we can find buyers and how you can do it. All right. I show that we are now at 9:05. Give me one more quick thumbs up, you guys, just to give the algorithm some juice. And we're off. Okay, so let's share the screen. We're going to share screen 1, and then we're going to go into disposition. All right, so finding buyers. This is very important. So I do this all the time, but I want to break it down to its most simplest form. What is disposition? Disposition is selling a property, selling a contract, selling an opportunity. And in order to do that, we need to identify buyers for these real estate opportunities. That is it. identifying buyers. Disposition is about identifying buyers. And the more that you identify buyers, the more that you find buyers, the more that you lead generate for buyers, the more buyers that you have, the more successful that you will be. Now, that doesn't mean that you need hundreds and thousands of buyers. You don't need that many buyers. The reality is, okay, really what you need are probably between 4 to 6 dedicated VIP buyers that you can keep busy and that you can continue to feed these opportunities, okay, per market. All right. So for those of you that are working multiple markets, and I have encouraged this for a long time, okay, I tell people that you should be focusing on a minimum of at least 2 to 3 markets. All right, 2 to 3 markets, because for instance, if you're working the California market, that's a very high-end market and it's a very expensive market, and there are some great margins there. But at the end of the day, it's very, very competitive and it can be very saturated. And so that makes it a lot more challenging. All right. So that doesn't mean I don't work the California market, because I do. It just means that, like, you also need to make sure that you have a few other markets that you can go into where the price points are a little bit easier to get into. You can engage with more people. There might be less competition, et cetera, et cetera. So that is one of the reasons that I suggest you identify at least 2 or 3 different markets. You have your more expensive markets, your mid markets, and your lower range markets. All right. You have at least 3, and then you want to identify at least 3 to 4 buyers in each of those markets, 3 to 4 VIP buyers that you can dedicate your time to, that you can feed opportunities to, that you can go out there and find properties for these people. This is very, very important. So when we're having those kind of conversations, and by the way, if you see me typing, it's because I'm actually working on some of these slides as we do this. You're just going to have to forgive me. I've just been really, really busy. So when we do this, number one, you want to make sure that you're vocal. Okay, you're vocal about this. You're vocal that you're looking for investors. I think what happens is a lot of people get embarrassed, and when they're first starting out in any endeavor, not just in our profession, but in any endeavor, they get embarrassed, and they don't really want to go out there and share what it is that they're doing with anyone else, because they're afraid of people's perception. They're afraid of people saying, well, what do you know about real estate? Well, what do you know about investing? Well, what do you know about this? Have you ever done any flips? Have you ever assigned any contracts? Have you ever been successful at this? And so without having a track record to look on or to look back at, sometimes people, they feel intimidated about sharing what it is that they're doing, when in fact, most people are going to be able to relate with the journey, and they're able to relate with, somebody who's just getting started, as opposed to seeing somebody like a Grant Cardone, for instance, who's on TV all the time, or on the internet all the time, talking about real estate investing. They can relate with our journey more than they can with where he's at right now, okay, with your chapter 1 or chapter 2. And so what I'm suggesting is that you be vocal. You need to be much more vocal about what it is that you're doing. I'm going to make this much larger. Anyway, be vocal about what it is that you're doing. And so what that means is you're going out there and you're talking to people, and you're letting them know, hey, look, I'm in real estate now. I'm really focusing on working with investors and working with developers. Do you know any real estate investors or developers that are looking for projects? Because once I know what it is that they're looking for, I can go out and I can find that for them. All right. So you should be posting this on social media. All right. That's another thing. You let me type this in there. You want to share this with everyone you come into contact with. Who do you know? Right? This is very important. Who do you know that is investing in real estate right now? Right now, okay? Not last year, not 10 years ago, right now. Who do you know that's investing in real estate right now? Okay, this is important. You need to work your existing sphere of influence, because they will refer people over to you. They will refer them, investors to you, especially because they know you, they like you, and they trust you. Who do you know? Then when they make that introduction, then you're going to start asking the right questions for that buyer. Okay, so make sure that you're talking to everybody that you know, and that you're asking them, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but I really want to focus on working with investors right now. That's something that I'm very passionate about. I want to bring opportunities to investors. And keep in mind, we're not only talking about fix and flip investors. Okay, that's the other thing. Don't limit yourself to fix and flip. Yes. Do we like fix and flip investors? Do we like fix and flip buyers? 100%, 100%. But are we also looking for people that might be developers? So what other type of buyers are we looking for? We're looking for developers. Right now, somebody from our office in our organization, his name is Marcus, who's doing really, really well and works really, really hard. He's in a meeting right now with a developer who's showing him one of his projects so that Marcus can get a better feel for what it is that the developer is looking for, so that Marcus can then go out and try to find those opportunities for that developer, right? So the key here is you don't want to limit yourself. You want to make sure that people understand or know what it is that you do. You want developers. You want buy and hold investors. Okay. Now, why would you want buy and hold investors? Because there are going to be some people that want to purchase properties, and all they're going to do is they're just going to buy them, fix them, and keep them as rentals. This is very, very important, but you won't know that unless you ask. So don't limit yourself to just like fix and flip. There are going to be some buyers who are only going to want to buy and hold. That's all they want to do. And the thing is, if we know how to structure a deal correctly, we can then sell opportunities to them. But again, if you don't ask the right questions for these buyers, you won't exactly know what it is that they're looking for. And then the last thing is they are STRs and MTRs, midterm rentals. Okay, short-term rentals and midterm rentals. So there's some people who really love Airbnb. That is what they want. That is what they're looking for. So that's a different type of buyer. That's not just a fix and flip buyer. Why am I sharing this with you right now? Because right now, although I love fix and flipping, it's much more competitive. The margins are a lot more difficult sometimes. And so there are sellers who still think that it's 2021. And so they're saying, hey, my neighbor across the street just sold their property for, I don't know, $750,000. Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the values are a little bit different now. And I'm not saying that values have crashed, because they certainly haven't crashed, but they have adjusted a little bit. And as the interest rates continue to go up, they're going to adjust even more. So all I'm saying is that when you're, hold on one second. I'm getting a message that my internet is unstable. All I'm saying is you want to identify which buyers you are going to work with, and you want to specialize in that. So fix and flip, guaranteed. Those are the type of buyers that we're always going to be looking for. And then the other type of buyers, you want to make sure that you know how to cater to them as well. So just to recap real quick, identify at least 3 markets that you're going to be working in: your upper tier, your mid tier, your I don't want to say lower price, lower tier, but your more moderate tier. Okay. And then identify at least 3 to 4 buyers in those markets that you're going to be working, that you're going to be feeding. That also means that you're going to need to have important conversations with them. All right. So let's duplicate this slide. Finding buyers, conversations. Okay. With buyers. All right. This is important, okay? You are looking for people that are going to be, that can perform. You want people that can perform. So if you're working with, there's nothing that feels worse than getting an opportunity, bringing it to a buyer, and the buyer says, I can close, I can close, I can close. This is something that I want. I've got the money in the bank. I'm ready to go. I'm going to do it. You just bring me an opportunity. I can do this. Nothing feels worse than doing that, putting in all this hard work, and then identifying someone as your VIP buyer, conversations with your VIP buyer. And then after that, you bring them the opportunity and they're like, oh, you know what? I'm out of the market. I'm not going to be doing this anymore. I'm not going to be buying anymore. I'm not going to, my last transaction didn't go so well. Right now, I'm just going to take a pause. So why do we need to have important conversations with buyers? So that we're not spinning our wheels, so that we can identify the ones who are going to close. So you need to ask them some very, very serious questions, so that, and you want to tell them like, look, John or Jane, if I go out there and I start to search, I will find you the opportunity. I'm really only looking for about 1 to 2, maybe 3 buyers that are going to be my go-to buyers that I take all of my opportunities to. So if I'm going to dedicate myself to this, I need to make sure that you're going to be dedicated to me and you're going to be able to perform. Right? That's a tough conversation that you want to have with somebody, but it's a conversation that you need to have with your VIP buyers, so that way they understand, like, look, they're looking for someone who can close. All right. They are. Okay. So number 1, can you perform? This is very, very important. You need to ask them, can you perform? We've gone over this, but what are the types of properties that you want? Okay. What type of properties? And we did the fix and flip, the short term, the Airbnb, all of that stuff. If you're going to do a fix and flip, are you going to do a light, I call it lipstick, mid, a rehab, or are you going to do a gut job? Are you okay with a gut job? Right? What type of property are you capable of purchasing? Lipstick, rehab, gut job, all of the above? What is it that you want? See how when you start to get that specific with someone, they will start to see that you are proficient at what you're doing. You know what it is that you're doing. But if you don't ask these questions, you're not. So what type of property? Okay. Then price range. All right. What is your price range? Okay, so if we're talking upper tier markets where the prices are much, much higher, California, I mean, LA, Miami, New York, you're talking about those kind of properties. Well, then, yeah, you're going to be looking at properties that are going to cost anywhere between 650 all the way up to, over $1 million, right? Depending on the type of property, especially if it's multifamily, but we're only going into single family right now. So what is the price range? Okay, you have some people, I was on a call, about a week ago, and somebody said that they're looking for properties in Oklahoma, and they'll buy almost anything that they can get for about $35,000 to $45,000. Okay, that was their price point. That's what they want. They want houses that they can get within that price range that they can fix, flip, or just keep as rentals. Okay, identify what the price range is going to be. Okay, so you want to know the type of property, the type of rehab, the price range. Areas, you need to know the areas clearly. It's important that you know what area they're going to be buying these properties in. So you have to ask. So I was on a call the other day with a buyer, and he kept me on the phone for about 5-10 minutes. And I even recorded the call and I shared it on my social media. And I said, okay, what areas do you want to buy in? And then he said, all of Southern California. Okay, anything in Southern California. Okay, that's a little too broad and that's a little too vague, and that doesn't really help. So it's important that you try to narrow this down. Okay, so when you get someone that gives you these really vague responses and they're like, yeah, anything under $1 million. All right, yeah, anything in Southern California. Anything in Reno, anything. If they start to say anything like that, that's a very vague answer, and either they are not qualified to be your VIP buyer, or they're just not really engaging in the conversation. So what we're going to do is you're going to bring them back in, right? You're going to bring them back into the conversation, and you're going to do this professionally by saying, okay, so what you just told me was anywhere in Atlanta, anywhere in Atlanta. Can you give me 1 or 2 specific areas that you really, really want to focus in? Or I'll tell you what, give me 1 or 2 specific areas that you won't touch with the 10-foot pole, that you won't even enter into that market. One of the two. Give me ones that you really want to be in or ones that you really want to avoid. I need 1 or 2, please. It'll help me during my search. Now, what you did was you brought them in and then you gave them specifics, right? You gave them specific requirements on the question. People, when you give them too much free rein, they roam, right? And so I tend to have adult ADD, so I'm all over the place, as is evident by a lot of my trainings. But the point here is that if you don't narrow it down, okay, if you don't narrow down where it is that they're looking for, they're just going to give you random answers. So give me at least 1 or 2 places that you specifically want to be in, okay? 1 or 2. And then you can start to cater to that. All right, so now we've got and then time frame. Okay, this is important. All right, time frame. So Jane, John, if I find the opportunity, I'm going to bring it to you. Okay, I'm committing myself to bringing this opportunity to you. I'm going to get it to you. Can you perform? Can you perform in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months? I mean, how soon can you perform if I can bring you something and I can get it to your table? And then you wait and you see how they respond. All right, you can't, again, if you give them open-ended questions, well, how soon are you ready to do something? That's open-ended. It's vague. They're going to give you a vague response. And people by nature, we tend to be lazy, right? We don't want to work. And so we'll just give out some random answer. But if you give them options, right? A good salesperson, a good professional salesperson knows that you don't give them open-ended opportunities. You give them options. You give them 1, 2, 3 options, right? Children have learned how to do this, okay? So Dad, I want to go get ice cream. Can we go before lunch or can we go after lunch, right? They're giving me options. Either way, they're getting what it is that they want, right? In this case, so Mr. or Mrs. VIP buyer, Can you buy in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months? What kind of a time frame can I count on you or count you on if I do bring that opportunity to you? And then you get an idea. So you give them those options, 30, 60, 90, 6 months, okay? If I bring you something, how soon can you perform? And you ask these questions, okay? Very, very important. So I'm gonna pause just for a quick sec because I need some water and I wanna get some air, and I will open it up to any type of questions right now, real quick while I take a break. I'm looking at the Facebook comments. So if you guys have any other comments, how you doing, Matt? Good to see you here. Let me know now, and then I'll move on. Okay. All right. So let's move on now to, going back to being vocal. Not only is being vocal something that you want to do, now I'm getting a little warm. Not only do you want to do this with your friends and family and your sphere of influence, but I want to make sure that you also do this with your social media. Okay, you should be on social media posting at least once a day, all right, that you are looking for buyers who are looking to invest in property, that you are identifying opportunities. Hey, listen, it's Paul. And you know what? Forgive me, because I know that some people are going to say, well, Paul, I haven't seen you post anything like that. So I will lead the charge starting today. In fact, I'll tell you what. How about this? How about this? Okay. So I put my money where my mouth is. Let me flip it. Hey guys, it's Paul. Listen, I don't know if you know it or not, but I spend a lot of my day identifying opportunities for investors. So if you are a fix and flip investor or you are a developer and you're looking for opportunities, please DM me. Let me know what it is that you're looking for, because me and my team, we are on the phones and we can find that opportunity for you, okay? Now, if you're looking for a development opportunity, or if you're looking for short-term rentals or midterm rentals or whatever it might be, just let me know. So once we have an idea of what you're looking for, we can start looking for it for you, and we can identify them for you in the next 30 to 60 days. All right, let me know. Talk to you soon. Bye. All right, now the only thing that I didn't like about that, and I'm going to post that in a little bit, was that when I shared that, I said, hey, you guys, so a little quick tip on social media. When you are sending out messages through social media, you want to make it seem as if you're speaking to one specific person. So you want to say you, where as if you're talking to just one person. If you say you guys, it becomes a general, or gals, it becomes a general message, okay? So when someone feels like you're really speaking directly to them, and if you're talking to them, just them, it makes the message more personal. So I may have to re-record that, forgive me, again, and this time I'm gonna say, hey, I don't know if you know it or not, and that way it feels like I'm speaking directly to that one person. So I don't suggest that you use, hey guys. A lot of people do that on social media, and I'm not saying it's necessarily right or wrong. I'm just saying it's a minor tweak that makes people feel like they're engaged with you as an individual versus I'm just a big audience to them. All right, so you should be doing this regularly. The assumption is, well, if I'm doing it every day, people are going to see it every day. They're going to get bored of hearing that message, and then nobody's going to want to comment or participate. Okay, that's wrong. And the reason that's wrong is because, number one, you're assuming that everybody sees your social media. I've said this before. People they're not on social media all day long, and a lot of times the algorithm, the way it works is your post isn't necessarily being seen. Yes, it's being seen by some people. I know that some people see my post, and I know that some people don't see my post. And think about this. I'm sure that you've been with other friends or family, and then you've had a conversation with them, and they're like, oh, did you see what I did on my Facebook or on my TikTok? Or did you see this? And then you're like, no, I didn't see this. The assumption is that if we share it, people automatically see it. And that is not true. Not everything that you see is necessarily seen. There are so many different factors that come into play with like social media, and these platforms give preference to the ones that are paid advertisers, right? So that my point is that unless you have this massive audience of like millions and millions of people, your message isn't being seen, and I know this for a fact, even for myself, isn't being seen as much as we think, which means that you have to double, triple, quadruple your efforts in order for your message to actually be seen more than you want. So you actually have to overshare in order for people, I know that sounds crazy, but for people to see your messages, which is what you have to do. All right. I'm telling you, think about it. You've had people, it happens to all of us. They're like, oh, did you see where I went last week? I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't even, again, and this is not that people are egotistical or arrogant. It's just the way it is, right? The way the platforms are, and people just assume that you follow everything that they do, and that's not necessarily true. I know that there are some. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on that tangent. So share it on social media. Okay, very, very important. I would say once a day, twice a day, looking for buyers. Marcus is doing this right now. When he goes to that development opportunity, he's going to do a quick share while he's at the property. Okay. Next thing, there's driving for dollars, and there's also driving for buyers. Okay, what is driving for buyers? If you see a house that is being rehabbed, that is being remodeled, okay, how do you know when a house is being rehabbed? Okay, number one, what's the telltale sign? And I'm asking a question, but I know that I'm probably not going to get a response. Look for the large garbage bins, industrial garbage bins. Okay. When you see those large industrial garbage bins, or the porta potties, or when the house has been vacant, you've seen the house vacant, and now they're starting to work on it, that is an opportunity for you to go in there and you talk to the people that are working there. Okay. Sometimes you will find the actual investor there. Sometimes they're doing the work themselves. Sometimes the contractors or the people that are working there will provide you with the contact information of the seller, or you can just get the address and then do a title search, right? And check out who the investor is. So the same way that we would be driving for dollars for opportunities to go out there and find properties and find opportunities for investors, reverse engineer it. Why couldn't you do the exact same thing for buyers, right? To identify your VIP buyer. If you're driving through town and you're going around and you see a property and it is clearly being flipped, it's being fixed. I would, and I pull over, I walk in, I take a look at it. I try to see who the owner is. I try to see who the foreman is. I try to see who the contractor is. I try to get the numbers from everybody. I get a business card from the contractor. Why would I want to get the business card from the contractor? Because you think that if they're a contractor, that's not their only client. I'm sure that they have other flippers that they can talk to, or investors that I can talk to. I just have to engage. All right. So if you're driving around and you're seeing other properties and you see that one is clearly being worked on, you know that it's been vacant and now they're fixing it and they're probably going to flip it and they're probably going to sell it, or they're going to rent it. Who knows? Maybe it's for rental. Who cares? Go in there, talk to the contractor, get the contractor's business card, see if that contractor is comfortable enough to provide you the contact information for the investor. Reach out to the investor, ask the same questions. Hey, John or Jane, my name is Paul. Listen, I just went to your property at 1234 Mockingbird Lane. I saw that you're working on it. Congratulations. It looks like it's going to be a great investment. I have a question for you. I am on the phones all day long talking to sellers. I am looking for additional opportunities, okay? If I find an opportunity, are you in the market for more property? Are you in the market for fix and flips? And then guess what? I go back to the other questions, and now I've turned it into the script that we just talked about, right? Types of properties, lipstick, rehab, gut job, price range, areas, time frame. If you're ready to buy, John or Jane, listen, I can go out there and I can find you some more opportunities. How many other properties do you think you want to purchase before the end of the year? That is also a great question to ask. How many properties do you want to purchase before the end of the year? Okay. Specific questions. Now, what did we talk about? No open-ended questions. 1 or 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 10 or more. I mean, what are you thinking? If I can find you properties, right? How many more do you want to buy? 1 or 2, 2 or 4, 6, 10? Could you do 10 or more if I can find them for you? You wait and see how they respond, but you give them those options so that you don't leave it open-ended, okay? And that's driving for buyers. I don't think enough people do this. I don't think enough people are pulling over and taking a look at the properties that are being fixed or flipped or rehabbed or whatever. You need to go in there. Contractors are a great way to find the investors. And then sometimes, I'm telling you, investors are in there, and then you'd be surprised. Sometimes the investor is the contractor, right? Because they can do it for less. It costs them less money, so that they're actually in the property working. But you don't know that unless you go in there and you actually talk to someone. All right. And for the record, George, I did not take off that sweater because you were making fun of me. I took it off because I was getting hot. I run warm, and I carry some extra meat, some extra fluff, if you will. All right. Okay. So any questions or comments? I'm looking at the questions and comments right now. I'm also checking out Zoom to make sure that I'm not missing any. Before I move on to the next topic. Okay, so up until now, everything that we've been talking about is identifying the buyers, being vocal, using your existing contacts to ask them if they have anybody. And you know what's crazy is that your existing contacts may actually be investors that are looking to buy too, but you've never asked them, so you didn't even know that. Okay, then you've got the script on what it is that you should be saying, what it is that you should be asking them and telling them. Then we just covered how to go out there and driving for dollars, making sure that you're pulling over, talking to contractors, talking to the people that are in there, talking to the investors. That's the other way of doing it. Now we're going to go a little bit more high tech on how to do it. So there's driving for dollars. We're going to go and we're going to talk about Zillow. Okay, finding buyers. So you can, how to use Zillow. There's other tools out there, okay, that you can use. But they're paid, and I'm not going to go into paid tools right now. Okay, we can talk about all the paid tools another time. For someone who's brand new or somebody just looking at this and you don't necessarily have money to invest, you're saying, okay, how can I go in there and what tools can I use to be able to find investors, to be able to find flippers? So right now, I'm a little bullish on OKC. I like it. Price points are very affordable. And you see people making great margins on some of these flips or some of these signing contracts. So let's go in there now. What we're going to do is I want to see the last properties that have been sold. I only want houses for now. So I click on deselect all. I hope you guys saw how I did this. And then I'm going to do properties that have sold in the last 12 months. Okay, I want to see the ones that have sold in the last 12 months. And I already have an idea that properties that are in pretty good shape in Oklahoma City. So for instance, anything below 200,000, actually anything below 100,000 is typically going to be something that was probably not fixed or rehabbed. This is a property that was fixed or rehabbed. Okay, if you look at it, all right, it looks nice, or it's a brand new construction. I don't know yet. I'm about to find out. One thing that you want to do when you're using Zillow on the acquisition side and on the disposition side, if you're doing a little bit of research, is you want to come in here and you want to make sure that you click on the, okay, so your built's 1976, so it's not new construction. You want to make sure you check out the price and tax history. This is very, very important. A lot of people don't do this. And when I first got started, you know, assigning contracts, right? I mean, I've been in the business for 25 years, but it was about 3 years ago that I really decided that I was also going to get good at learning real estate investing and wholesaling. And yes, so had we done flips in the past? We had done many flips, but the assigning portion of real estate was still a little bit of an enigma to me. It was a little, there was a veil, and I didn't quite understand it until I saw assignment fees on HUDs for my sellers when I was helping them sell it. And when I had discovered that there were wholesalers who had gotten involved in these transactions that were making as much as I was in my commissions, and sometimes even double or triple what I was making, that's when I decided, okay, I need to figure out what it is that they're doing. So when I first got started, I didn't review this as much as I should have. Okay, it was you really want to make sure that you look at the price and tax history of all these properties on Zillow because they make it available. So this one just sold for $222,000. Now, what do I want to know? I want to know, number one, was this an investor who bought it, fixed it, and flipped it in the last year? So I'm going to follow the history of this, and I'm going to look, and I see it went pending around April. It was listed around April, went pending after 4 days. So what that tells me is $225 for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot home, fixed up, $225. It's going to go fast. Okay, that I'm studying this. Okay. But I also see that the last time it sold was in 2007. It was in 2007. So the last time it sold was 2007, which means that this buyer was not an investor flipper. This buyer was just a traditional homeowner that took really good care and took pride of ownership in their home and kept it looking really, really nice. That's what that is. So this is not a flipper that I would be able to go to and offer an opportunity to, because they stayed in this home for roughly about 16 years. Right. But what it does tell me is now I know that at 222, about 220, about $220,000 in that market, a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot home, flipped really nice, it will sell within 4 days. That's what this teaches me, which is great. Okay, because now I have an idea. I can reverse engineer this, right? Let's assume now we have a calculator that we use. And we have a newer version now. It's a 10.0. Okay, so let's assume that the ARV is 220, and then let's assume then that Control Z, that the properties that I'm looking at aren't total gut jobs, but they're about $45 a square foot to fix. Okay, $45. It's a rehab. So 1,400 times $45. So the average cost is going to be about $63,000. Remember, you always overestimate repairs and you underestimate value. Okay. Most people in this business do the opposite. They underestimate repairs and then they overestimate value. I want you to overestimate repairs, underestimate value. So let's say it's 63. I'm going to say about 70,000. So it'll cost about 70,000 to rehab. Okay, not gut job, just a normal remodel. So what kind of a price point do we need to get our properties at? If in case, let's say I don't want to make 25, I just want to make 15 per transaction. I should be looking for properties roughly in the $75,000 price point. Okay, that's it. So I should be getting properties between $65,000 to $75,000 for my buyers who want a typical 1,400 square foot home that they can just remodel, not a gut job, but a remodel. And then they'll be able to make, if they go hard money, they'll put 15% down and they'll have $17,000 cash back on a return on their investment. Or if they do it all cash, they'll make a lot more money. But my point is, now I have an idea. So my price point for some of my buyers, reverse engineering it, right? Knowing now that that property sold in 4 days, knowing now that a $220,000 home with about $70,000 in repairs, I got to get it for about $65,000 to $75,000 and then take it to my investor. Okay. But now we're looking for buyers. So let's look for buyers. And before I go on, any questions about what I just said? I'm checking the chat. Nothing? Okay. Everybody understood it. This is going to be on Facebook, so you can save it anyway. All right. So now let's go back. This is not a buyer. So I am going to adjust my price points because I want the ones that have sold. It says any price. Okay. So minimum is 0. Where's my maximum? 100,000. Okay. Why do I want to see only properties that have sold between $0 to $100,000? Because those are going to be the flippers. Now, I also want to adjust my square footage because I already determined that a good buy is going to be between 1,250 to 1,500 square feet. And I want to see the ones that have sold from $0 to $70,000. Okay. Now let's take a look. All right, now we've got some opportunities here. So let's sort not by the newest, but let's sort by the lowest to highest. Okay, so here is one. These sold really, really low. Wow, look at this. It sold for $25,000 in August. So who purchased this one? Or when did they purchase? In August, they purchased it for $25,000. It's a 2-bed, 1,500 square foot home, $1,498. It meets the exact parameters of what it is that we were talking about. built in 1952. It's a little bit older, but going back to what we said earlier, if we could fix this home up, you dump about $70,000, $85,000. This would be worth a lot more. Now, this property, if you don't know, where you see public record, that means that the seller bought it directly from the buyer bought it directly from the seller. Okay, there was no agent involved. It wasn't on the open market. This was an investor that went directly to the seller and they purchased it, or it could have been a family member that purchased it, because that does seem a little bit low, but I don't know the condition of the home. It looks pretty bad though. I think there was something wrong with the, yeah, look at that. Something wrong with the roof. So this was a gut job. This isn't just a rehab. This is probably a gut job. So it's going to increase the cost to repair a little bit more, but let's take a look at this one. Well, anyway, why did I show you that? Because now that we have that address and we know that it's sold for $25,000, you can then call up a local title rep and you can ask them, hey, John or Jane at local title company, can you do me a favor? Can you get me the property profile for the person that purchased this property? Okay. Then they can send you a property profile. You can see who the owner is. You can then look them up on True People Search, or you can skip trace them, or you can find them, and then you can give them a call. Just for the sake of this example, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to use Privy. Okay. Now, again, this is a paid tool. I just told you how you can do it for free. You can call up the title company. Let me log into Privy. Let's find out who the owner is. And then we can reach out to the owner. Now you've got a possible buyer. All right. So we did this in under 5-10 minutes. So we know it sold for $25,000. I want to see who the owner is. Who is I don't see any deeds, assessor records. So the owner is Mr. Ricardo Parra. All right. He is the person that purchased it. Ricardo Rios Parra. Now you can do a skip trace, or you can, it's a husband and wife. Okay. Because they got it as joint tenants, I believe. I could be wrong. Ricardo Rios Parra. Then you can do something like, again, I'm showing you like the free way to do this. Ricardo Rios Parra. And he is in, I'm assuming, Oklahoma City. The zip code is 73109. And here we have him, 58-year-old gentleman. I can click on that. And then let's see if they have a telephone number for him. And there's Araceli. So I don't see a telephone number on him right now. They don't have one for him. Let's see if I can find something on Araceli. And full background report, nothing here. All right. So if you're going to do a skip trace, you can use, there's batchskiptracing.com. You can try that. That's another tool. I know that there's other ways, but I'm just showing you that this is how you can find buyers. Okay. So that was one way. Now let's look for another one. And this one wasn't a corporation. Sometimes people who purchase the properties, they purchase them as corporations, and it's a little bit more difficult to find who the actual owner is. Here's another one that sold for $25,000, 3-bed, 1-bath, $1,250. They bought it in August. It hasn't gone back on the market. They haven't flipped it. So I don't know what they're going to do with it, but same deal. So now I can come here. I can call a title rep. I can see who the owner is. I can try to find their telephone number, back to search. Now, why am I asking for their telephone number? Why am I doing all this work? I'm doing all this work because I'm going to call them and I'm going to say, hey, John or Jane, here's this property. It sold for $25,000. Let's see. That is really inexpensive. Assessor records. The owner is, where's the owner? Mortgage history, non-property history, warranty deed. So look who purchased it. Legacy Investment Holdings. So this is an example of what I was talking about earlier. So this person was the seller, or not person, this entity was a seller, and this person was the person that bought it, or this corporation. Now I do a quick search for Legacy Investment Holdings. Oh, look at this. Oklahoma's #1 property investment company. They have a Facebook page, which is great. Okay. They have videos, they're active, they have a website, I can message them, I can call them, and I can talk to them. And then I can say, hey, I noticed that you purchased this property. Are you looking for more? And now we've got another home buyer. All right. You find out who the actual, look, they even have, you know, a telephone number there. You can call somebody. Here. One of the things that I like to do is actually take action so that people see what it is that I'm talking about. Because it's one thing for me to tell you, it's another thing for you to see me actually do it. There's a lot of people that just say, go do this, go do that, and then they don't do it. So let's see if I can get them to answer the phone. Website expired.
Voice message system 83.
All right, sorry, they didn't answer. I would have said, hey, listen, my name is Paul. I am a real estate investor just like you guys. I noticed that there's a property that's being held by Legacy Investment Holdings over on 37th Street. I just wanted to talk to the person that makes the decisions on that property. You know, I don't know if they're selling it or if you guys are rehabbing it or what you're doing, but I do come across these opportunities, and I wanted to see if I could present these opportunities to that decision maker. Who should I speak to? Something along those lines, right? So now we've got another one. And then you, I mean, you can do this. You can look for other ones all day long. These are all properties that were purchased. Now, here's one. Look at this. This was just purchased in March. 2-bed, 1-bath, 1,300 square feet, $25,000. We've already done the research on this. We already know now that a home in Oklahoma would go for $220,000 rehabbed. Okay, rehabbed. This one was a public record, direct to seller, right? I don't know if you're noticing a pattern here, but when we get it direct to seller, you can get it at a pretty good price, okay? As opposed to it going on the MLS. So $25,000 for this, we'd have to do the exact same thing. I do a little bit of research. I'll go on to Privy. Let's see who the owner is. I want to find out who the buyer is because I want to know if they're still looking so that I can go out and find them some more properties. Let's see. Let's go down, assessor records. Adrian Vasquez. I know an Adrian Vasquez here in California. I'm wondering if he's a pretty successful real estate. Okay, so anyway, we then look for Adrian Vasquez. We do a skip trace, and then we try to find them, and we contact them, and we do the exact same thing. So I just taught you now how you can go out there and you can find which properties, right? How much they're selling for. You can estimate the amount of repairs and what price you should be getting them for, so that you can bring those opportunities to these buyers as well. Okay, and I just showed you now how you can use a free tool like Zillow to see who has been purchasing these properties with those same parameters that you can then contact and say, hey, look, I saw that you bought this property. I saw that you bought this. Look at this. I saw you bought this property, 2-bed, 1-bath, 1,400 square feet for $37,500, right? Do you buy a lot of these properties? How much you make a bet? Public record. Look at that. All the great deals, how are they getting them? They're all getting them direct to seller, public record. All right. So now what you want to do is you just want to learn how to go out there and identify those buyers, the people that purchased these properties last year, within the last year. And we're going to try to find them, get their phone number and say, hey, look, if I find other opportunities for you in or around that price range, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to take on more projects? Because I know, doing my research, that a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet is probably going to go for about $220,000, right? Doing my research. And it's going to go fast because I just saw one that just sold for about within 4 days of being on the market. All right. So those are the kind of conversations that you should be having with people. And George, yes, these are recorded and they're all stored. And this is all stored on our Facebook, in our Facebook group, George, to answer your question. All right. So I finished up just a little bit early. I'll do a real quick recap and then I'm going to let everybody get to work. So going back to what we said at the very beginning. Okay. What is it that we do? We identify buyers for our real estate opportunities. That's what we do. We identify buyers for the real estate opportunities. Okay. I want you to identify a few different markets. Let me duplicate this slide. Okay. Pick 2 to 3 markets. Okay. Duplicate, because these are the most important ones. And then get 3 to 4 VIP buyers in those markets. All right. 3 to 4 VIP markets in those buyers. So we're going to identify buyers. We want to pick 2 to 3 markets, upper tier, mid tier, lower tier. You want to get 3 to 4 VIP buyers for those markets. You want to have a serious conversation with those buyers, asking them the correct questions. You want to make sure that they understand that you're going to keep them busy. I can keep you busy. I can commit myself to that. I just want to make sure that you're going to be busy to me. Now, again, I teach this all the time, but at the end of the day, your long-term goal is for you to be the investor. That's what you want, right? You want to be the investor. So these skills would also apply to you so that you could find the opportunities yourself, all right? Then you want to be vocal. Okay, this is important. Start sharing that you're looking for investors to work with. We are looking for buyers. We want buyers to work with. I want to dedicate myself to people that are looking for some fix and flip opportunities, for some short-term rentals, for some midterm rentals, and maybe some buy and hold stuff. So if you're a buyer, make sure that you reach out to me. Let me know. Once I get to work, I'm going to find you something. Start using social media. Okay, start posting, let people know, hey, I'm looking for buyers. If you're an investor, reach out to me, please. Let me know what it is that you're looking for, and me and my team can get on it. There's no shame in saying me and my team, me and my team, me and my team. You are a part of a team. You are a part of our group. If you're part of our Facebook group, we're a part of a team. We are all a team. When you say that, it just sounds a little bit more impressive too. Me and my team can get on the phones and we can find what it is that you're looking for. We just need to know what it is. Ask them the right questions. Driving for buyers. Okay, make sure that when you see properties that are being fixed up, you're taking advantage of it. You're pulling over. You're talking to the contractors. You're getting business cards. The owners might be there. Ask for the owner's information. Ask for the owner's contact number. You won't believe how many contractors will easily just give it to you right then and there if you just ask for it. Okay, but you have to ask. A closed mouth doesn't get fed, so you have to ask. Lastly, we went over Zillow. Okay, reverse engineer it. Okay, go take a look at some of the properties that have been sold. All right, we talked about this. The ones that have been sold, and especially the ones that have been sold fast. If it's been sold fast and it looks like it's a rehab, even if it's not a flipped home, but it's a really, really nice home, good quality, it looks nice. If it's sold in at least 4 to 5 days, or even in 10 days, if it took only 10 days to go pending and sell, you know now that's what the market can bear. You know that is the price that people are going to be buying at in that market. So now you just reverse engineer it. Assume that it's going to cost you about $45 a square foot to rehab it. Okay, rehab. You're looking for homes that you can rehab, and a rehab is a remodel. So that means a new kitchen, new bathroom, some paint, flooring, stuff like that. A remodel. A gut job is a house that is completely destroyed, and that's going to be a lot more money. That's $75. So if you have to adjust your numbers, you adjust your numbers. Then once you get an idea of what that price point is, you just add your fee on, and then you say, okay, now I got to look for properties that have sold within that price range. You start going after those people that have purchased those properties, and you start offering your services. Say, hey, Jay or John, I saw that you purchased this property last year. When's it coming to market? Are you planning on fixing it, flipping it, selling it, holding it? What are you planning on doing? I look for opportunities all day long. I'd love to bring you some more opportunities similar to this one. And I've done my numbers. I know that if this one sells, if you flip it, it'll probably go for about $220, $250. Or $230, whatever, somewhere in that price range. Okay, so $954 I think we covered a lot of information today. Hopefully I've armed and made you a lot more confident about what you're doing when you're going out there and you're looking for properties and you're looking for dispo. Don't discount the value of talking to other wholesalers and seeing if you can JV with them. Okay, don't discount that. Don't discount the value of talking within our organization, within our team, and asking people, hey, what contracts do we have in play right now so that I can go out and find buyers for it. And then lastly, this Thursday, again, in Pasadena, 12:30 at our office, 898 North Fair Oaks Avenue, Suite A, Lunch and Learn. This Thursday, we're going to be covering Facebook Marketplace, all right, and how to take advantage of it. It's an underutilized tool, and the templates that I use, it's 6 separate messages that I send. I've learned how to delegate this now. I have somebody just sending these messages for me to people so that way they can communicate, and then once we get somebody that's a hot lead, then I take over, and then we start negotiating. Okay, so there's a system to this, right? Everything is a system. You just have to learn those systems. I'm not going to share the templates with anybody who does not come to the Thursday, or who's not a part of our group, but who comes to our Thursday training. This Thursday is when I'm going to be sharing that with everybody at our training. 12:30. You cannot park in our gated parking lot. You can park on the street, or you can park outside the gating park area. Please don't park inside the gated park area, because it upsets the other tenants and we're taking their assigned parking. Okay. All right. 9:55. I'm going to let everybody go a little bit earlier unless there are any questions or comments about what it is that we covered. I'm checking Zoom. And I'm checking Facebook one last time. And for those of you who don't know, here is the event on Facebook. How to use Facebook Marketplace to get seller leads for free. All right, please register. The link is in our event section. And if you ever want more information, we now have on our website, we now have our events calendar that is posted up there as well. Sorry, you're seeing, this is a perfect example. This is someone saying, you know, are you the owner? All right, so here's our website, training and events calendar is now on there. You can click that, and now our events will be posted here all the time, and you can see it. Okay, and you can add it to your calendar. All right, okay. I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for the comments. Let's get to work. Have a great day, everybody.